Hello and welcome. My name is Regina. If we have not met, if we have met, it is so wonderful to see you again and welcome to my practice space. Today we're going to be talking about adaptive yoga. So, what is adaptive yoga? Adaptive yoga is just yoga, but it's just a term put in place to let you know that whatever the circumstance, you can practice yoga. There's yoga in chairs, chair yoga. We've seen that. There is yoga using a wall. There is yoga using props. I have blocks here. I have straps and blankets. There's restorative. All of this is adaptive because it is just catering to you and where you are in your certain space. And it's not to say that you are limited by anything. It is, even if you are doing a chair class and you've been able to do a vinyasa, you're going to notice that that chair class is going to challenge you to do things differently in your regular practice. Same thing with a wall practice. It is going to challenge you. It doesn't make it easier, just so you know that. Okay, so this particular today, I wanted to talk about injuries, and in particular my injuries, and maybe you've had an injury like that or close to it or somewhere around it. And then I'm going to just show you the modifications that I was doing this past couple of months. So I had an injury in my right soleus, so my right calf. It was really deep. I was teaching Zumba a couple of months ago, and I was dancing, and then something just said pop, and I'm like, oh wow, what the heck is that? So it turns out there's a strain in my calf. It was hard for me to walk. I'm very hard-headed, so I had to be, somebody had hit me in the head, tell me to sit down and rest. Hard to walk, hard to practice yoga, and hard to teach. So I kind of had to modify all my styles. But during this time, I was also doing a challenge at my local yoga studio, and I wanted to keep going. So I had been going for like 100 days. So I wanted to keep going, but I also wanted to make sure that I was taking care of my injury. Now, just so you know, please make sure for you, please make sure that you do have clearance from your doctor, no matter what injury you have. Make sure you have clearance from your doctor or your therapist, physical therapist, that it's okay to practice, or that it's okay to start working out again. And you also want to have that, and then you also want to listen to your body. You also want to make sure that you have had enough resting time, enough restorative. That is super important, okay? Don't be hard-headed like me. Okay, so I've had the soleus strain. I also broke the toe, the little toe in my foot, my right foot, I believe it was. I think it was my left. No, it was my left. This was a few years ago. That hurt like a son of a gun. I have had an injury in my shoulder where the muscles, where the bicep, the muscles that connect the biceps to the shoulder, that was injured. I've had a groin tear. I've had a whole bunch of stuff. So today I'm going to go through kind of like a flowy, but not really, because I'm going to stop and show you just some modifications, because sometimes you may not know. You may go into a yoga studio, you may be new at it, and you may not know what the props are there for, unless the teacher says, hey, so today let's grab two blocks and a strap, okay? But otherwise, you're gonna come and you're gonna sit on your mat and you're gonna be like, all right, let's do it. And then you may go into a pose and it may not feel as good in your body as you want it to feel or how you think it should feel. That's important, is to be aware of how your body feels and say, you know what, this doesn't feel right. Or you might go into a pose and you might say, I feel kind of scrunched up. Is this supposed to be feeling like this? And you don't know, and you don't want to ask the teacher. The teacher might see you and she might give like a vague cue for the whole class, just so you can help to open up. All right, so I'm going to show you. So what I had to do is I had to go in and grab my own supplies, because I had to modify my practice, and that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go through just basic stuff. So I'm going to go through a sun salutation A, because these are things you might see in a yoga studio, a sun salutation B. And then I'm going to show you just some modifications of certain poses that you might encounter and use the blocks. Okay, so I'll do a pose, I might stop, I might talk about it, and then there you go. All right, so let's start in a comfortable seated position. So whatever that is for you. So notice where you are today. That's a very important part of yoga or any kind of practice, is that you know where you are. What are you working with today? Are you tired? Ladies, are you on your monthly cycle? Guys, did you just get finished lifting and I'm gonna say girls too, because I was a power lifter. But did you just have a real good week in your basement, hopefully, or in your home gym lifting, and you're kind of tight in the shoulders? Stop for a moment. In whatever position you're in, just want you to close or soften your eyes, find a focal point, and just take some natural breaths in and out through your nose. Now, I just want you to scan your body. Now, and here's the thing too. I want you to take whatever feels good too. So this is the exercise. It's about body awareness. It's about adapting daily from day to day, and it could change from day to day. How do you feel? Sometimes the teacher would say get into a child's pose, and I wasn't able to. It was hard for me to bend my knee, so I couldn't do a child's pose. I had to extend my leg out, and then maybe I supported it with a block. So just because the teacher says it, it's a suggestion. And you take the suggestion if you can, but when you get into that suggestion, you see what that feels like for you. Okay? So take some breaths and say, okay, I'm seated up. Now because if you're tired, I want you to try to get out of that tired space, because we do want to energize the body. But if you're just like, nope, like ladies, if you're on a monkey, you're like, nope, I just gotta lay down, I gotta come in shower. I want you to do that. So take a few moments. We're gonna take about 5 to 10 natural breaths. And I just want you to scan your body, see what you're feeling, while taking all the cues that I might give you. So if you are in a comfortable seat, sit up nice and tall, belly pulls into the spine, shoulders backing down, relax, keep the chin neutral, all right? So we don't want lazy and we don't want rigid, we want that in between, so soften into it. What do you feel? Are your knees tight? Your knees are tight? You can sit on a brick like I am. It's gonna raise you up a little bit and allow your knees to fall open. That's one modification. For me, I still do feel my soleus. So for me, I'm gonna extend my leg out into kind of a half easy seat. And so I'm gonna just soften that bend. Okay, that's one of the things that I did, is to soften the bend. All right. And as you finish up or continue with those 10 breaths, remember these are natural breaths. Just want you to send breaths to where the tension is or the tight spots. And I want you to send breath to those spaces that you are focusing on healing. If it's the shoulders, if it's the shin, if it's the knees, be safe with those, and just honor the injury, honor where you are, because that's where you are right now. And it's not going to get any better if you do things that are not good for your body. If you're on your knees, if you're in a child's pose, let's say the teacher says go into a child's pose, but you know that there are knee issues, you can use a blanket to put on your knees, or a hero pose. Blanket can be underneath your knees for support. If there's not blankets in the room or at the studio, you can roll up your mat as a cushion. So always remember, your mat can be rolled up as a cushion. Okay? So wherever you are, finishing up those 5 to 10 breaths. And just continue there. And once you get to that last natural breath, start to deepen the breath. In and out through the nose. Deep breath in, lengthen. Lengthen if you're sitting up. Exhale, push out, belly into the spine, let the breath out. Take 5 of those conscious breaths. In, lengthen, make the breath long. Make the exhale just as long and lengthy as the inhale. And today, again, be aware of your body, be aware of what the pose is doing, what it's causing. Sometimes we might get nauseated, lightheaded, and it's important that we do what the body needs us to do in order to calm that, in order to breathe into that. So this leads to the yama of nonviolence. That is the first yama that's most important, especially in what's going on in our surroundings, in our world right now. Nonviolence. That starts with ourselves. Where are we being violent to ourselves? Where are we hurting ourselves? Where are we talking about ourselves? Where are we judging ourselves? When we do that internally, that goes out into the world, okay? All right, let's make our way to hands and knees, table pose. Good. And then from table pose, I'm going to show you a modification of downward facing dog. So like I said, I'm going to go through a sun salutation A, I'm going to go through a sun salutation B, and then I'm going to go show you some poses, some standing poses that we can do grounded, and then I'm going to show you how to use the bricks and go through some balancing poses just to modify. Again, I may not touch on everything, but if you do, I'm looking at my Facebook if you're on and you have a question about something that can be modified, I'll try to answer it best I can. And if not, I can try to get you the answer. All right, so let's come to our hands and knees on the table pose. Shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. And again, you need support under the knees. Go ahead and fold up the mat or the blanket. Spread your fingers nice and wide. This is going to feel strange if this is the first time you're doing it. It's going to be a little much on the wrist. If it is a little much on the wrist, you can always sit back to the heels. All right, and anytime you need to, take some time and roll out your wrists. Let's take some cat cows. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the heart. Exhale, tuck and round. Take your time, move through, see how you feel, see how your spine feels. The spine is very sensitive too, so we don't want to, not that anybody does that, but if you were feeling particularly energetic today, let's try to calm that team mat a little bit. All right, so we're going to curl our toes, lift our hips up and back, downward facing dog. So first I'm going to show you how it looks. Downward facing dog, and I'm not going to say how it's supposed to look, because how it's supposed to look is how you do it. All right, so downward facing dog is our upside down V. We're pulling the shoulder blades back, hugging the shoulder blades behind us, belly's in, and it pulls towards the thighs. All right, so a modification for this, if you are having shoulder issues or wrist issues, go ahead and walk your hands back towards your heels. This is going to take some of the pressure off of your hands, and it is going to put all the weight in the feet. And you can use, once you get back there, you can use your bricks. Downward facing dog. Okay? Perfect. So when we do these poses, let's think, what is the pose supposed to do? And the teacher is going to cue that for you. What is this pose doing? What are we working on? Right? And then that's what we want to work on. And we want to listen to the teacher's cues on how to do that and not how to do it like our neighbor is doing. Good? So I'm at the back of the mat. I just came from my downward facing dog, and I'm at a forward fold at the back of my mat. Good. Soften the knees. Hang out here and breathe for a moment. And then half lift, inhale, pull the shoulder blades back. And then just remember, every cue, everything we're doing is going to help to recover or heal your injury a little bit more. But you want to determine, like, how much is it? This is too much standing on this leg. Let me have a seat for a second. You're going to determine that. And that's important for us to start to learn. Pull the shoulder blades back. Exhale to fold. Inhale to come all the way up. Reach to the fingertips. Exhale, palms to the heart, arms down by the sides. All right, so I'm at the back of the mat, and usually you're at the front of the mat when you're about to do a sun salutation. But I'm going to show you a sun salutation from the back of the mat with that downward facing dog. So let's inhale, reach up the fingertips. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, let's go to that downward facing dog. That's our downward facing dog, the shortened one. And then we're going to come onto our hands and knees into table pose instead of the plank push-up. All right, big toes are going to come together, knees apart, sit back into the heels, child's pose. Take a few breaths here. Inhale, come back up to table pose. Curl the toes, lift the hips up and back. Downward facing dog, maybe use the brick. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. And inhale, come all the way up, reach with the fingertips, palms to the heart, arms down by the sides. Good. All right, I'm gonna walk to the front of the mat. Inhale, circle, reach. Exhale, fold. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, step back. Let's say we're doing the plank push up. Let's come down to our knees. Let's say we might have a shoulder injury or we're just trying to protect our shoulders a little bit today. Okay. Now what I've done, if I can't do the push up, because I did have the injury where it was hurting me to bend my elbows, I'm just gonna take myself on down just like that, right? Yeah, nice and easy. Come to the forearms and then come all the way to the belly. Shoulders are gonna be, wrists are gonna be underneath the shoulders. And then we have our little cobra pose. Good. And then we can come down and then we can push up to table. And then we can push up to downward facing dog. And then we can walk back to our hands if that's the version that we've chosen. Half lift, hold in, inhale up. Good. All right, let me do that one again, and I'm going to do the one from the front of the mat. So inhale, circle, reach, fold and exhale. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, plant the palms. That's our downward facing dog. Come on to the knees, big toes together, knees apart, sit back to the heels, child's pose. Inhale, come back to table pose. Curl the toes, lift the hips up and back. That's our downward facing dog. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up, reach. Palms to heart, arms down by the side. Good. So do some sun salutations. You do that. And then I'm going to show you from the front of the mat. Inhale, circle, reach. Exhale, fold. Get a half lift, inhale. Exhale, step back with the knees down. And then come all the way down to your stomach. Palms underneath the elbows. Push up, cobra pose. That's our back bend. And then we're going to push up to that table pose. And then we're going to curl the toes, lift the hips up and back. And then we're going to step to the top of the mat. Forward fold, half lift, inhale, all the way up. Good, arms down by the sides. Okay, so that's one way or two ways that you can modify your sun salutations or just modifying the poses, those particular poses when you come to it. I could do downward facing dog, but I could not do a three-legged dog with my left leg because it was too much on my right. So how I did three-legged dog was here. And then I would step my foot forward and then do the rest of the movement. All right, that was sun salutation A. What about sun salutation B? Starts with a chair pose. So for me, since the injury was in my calf, and for me, bending my hips and bending my knees was a problem. So going into a deep chair pose was painful. So whenever chair pose was cued, what is chair pose doing? It's working the quads, it's working the lower body. It's also working the shoulders. So oftentimes this was my chair pose. My knees are soft, they're not straight, but I still have my arms lifted, shoulder blades plugged back. This was my chair pose. Yeah. And then as I started to heal, the bend would be maybe about here. And what's the key is to make sure that your pelvis is in and not tipped forward. So chair pose, okay? You don't have to dip, especially if you have knee issues and it maybe hurts to bend your knee, you don't want to cause any more damage to those muscles and tissues. Good. All right, forward fold. This is our sun B, half lift inhale. Exhale, I'm going to put in all our modifications. Here's another modification. We come into our plank push-up and we hold the planks. Or as we start to heel, maybe we bend the elbows a little bit and push up. Then curl the toes, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Okay, so I'm going to do it from here. So I've done my bend the elbows, push up. I'm going to, for sun salutation B, step the left foot between the hands. First pose is warrior one. This is my warrior one. I got my back knee down. I got a bend in the front knee and I'm reaching up. What is warrior one doing? Flexing the hip, flexing the knee, extending the hip flexor to the right side. We're doing all of that, right? Yeah, plant the hands, step back, maybe do your push-up, maybe hold your plank if you want to lower down and do what we talked about before, up dog or cobra, back to table, right leg between the hands, lift up, inhale, warrior one. Good. Plant the hands, step back, take your push-up or take your variation, curl the toes, lift the hips up and back, down dog. Front or back of the mat, half lift inhale, fold, bend the knees, drop your butt, chair pose. So this is what I had to do here. All right, let's go through that again. Chair pose, forward fold, sun salutation B. Half lift inhale. Exhale, I'm going to step back to my plank. I'm going to hold it. I'm going to step my left foot through. Inhale, that's going to be my warrior one. Good. Holding here for the plank push-up, up dog. Step the right foot through, warrior one. Step back, take the push-up or stay here. Downward facing dog. Top of the mat. Half lift inhale, exhale, fold, bend the knees. I had to make sure I was very careful coming up. All right, so here's sun salutation B. I'm just going to do the version with everything. And that way you see how I changed it. Warrior one. Warrior one. Downward dog. Top of the mat. Chair pose. Good? All right. So that's the way we can modify our sun A and sun B. Okay. So for this next flow, make sure we're good on time. Perfect. Yes, we're good on time. So I've shown you ways that you can modify downward facing dog, ways you don't have to do downward facing dog at all, way to modify a three-legged dog instead of from downward facing dog. Okay. So for this next pose, we're going to grab a couple of bricks and I will show you how to modify a couple of different poses. Actually, first I'm going to show these poses grounded first. All right. So I'm in my down dog. This is my down dog. Three-legged dog, left leg lifts. Step it through between the hands. Warrior one. All right, we've seen this warrior one variation before. Okay. Warrior two. Open the arms. It takes a little bit of adjusting this knee. My right knee is turning out a little bit so I can get that external rotation in this femur bone. And then so I can get to guiding this left knee open. Arms to a T, Gaze over the middle finger of the left hand. Warrior two. So what is our focus in warrior two? You stand up. Same thing. External rotation of this femur bone. 90 degrees strengthening in the left quadricep. Good. Arms supported, our arms strengthening out to a T. We're doing all of that right here. Good. Nice. What about reverse warrior? You just stay down here. My right hand is coming down the back leg, left arm lifts over. And we can still take that arm behind the back. Perfect, perfect. And then side angle pose. Forearm comes onto the thigh. Reach the arm over the ear, open the chest. Good. What about crescent warrior? So let's turn the hips back. You always want to support yourself. Turn the hips back to the front so we're closing that femur bone. It's no longer externally rotated. It is neutral. And then we're reaching up. So here is crescent lunge. Good. And remember, you can use the wall too, if you need to. When I broke my toe, I had to use the wall a lot. I'm gonna step up for a moment. Because, so let's say my injury was on the right side, I would have my left arm reaching if I was doing a balance, because I want to not only support the right foot when my toe is broken, but I want to start strengthening it as well again. So in order to create a balance, you want to balance on the opposite side. Right? Have the wall support you on the opposite side. Okay, where were we? We were in crescent. Good. And then we had side angle pose, which is here. We have reverse warrior, which is here. And then we have warrior two. Yeah, let's do it on the other side. I'm gonna turn around. So three-legged dog, right leg lifts. Step it through between the hands. Warrior one. Good, lifting the chest, 90-degree bend in the right knee. Feeling that hip flexor on the left side. Shoulders plugged in, gaze up at the fingertips. Good, for support, bring the fingertips down. Open that knee out to the side. Carefully, externally rotate that femur bone. Arms to a T, warrior two. Gaze over the middle finger of this right hand. Good, reverse warrior. Same thing. Side angle pose. Good. Let's bring the fingertips down for support. Crescent lunge. Crescent warrior. Good. Plant the hands, step back. Downward facing dog. This is our downward facing dog. If we don't want to go into it, holding the plank or plank push-up. We're doing a little elbow push-up, or not an elbow push-up, or just a little push-up. Then the elbow is a little bit. Good? All right. So I'm just going to show that one more time in a flowy motion. Three-legged dog, left leg lifts. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, open warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, side angle pose. Good. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, turn back towards the front. Inhale, crescent lunge. Good. Plant the hands, step back, downward facing dog or table. All right. So those are the poses grounded. You can do them. You can do them. If you want to try, if your body is ready, you can always try and do them standing. All right. But you're still doing the pose. Okay. Let's see what my next one is. All right. So downward facing dog. And we're going to step through to triangle pose. All right. So my downward facing dog, I could come into it, but it was not advisory by the wonderful sports medicine people at Wayne State to straighten it or bend it, so it was kind of weird. So my downward facing dog was here. Step the left foot between the hands, And let's come into triangle pose. So my triangle pose, because, and I did it on both sides, because I was not able to straighten the leg out as much as I wanted to, I had 2 bricks stacked for triangle pose. Now, if you'll notice, when you go into a triangle pose, depending on what time of day it is, I can feel my calf stretching. I can feel my hamstring. That was too much for me. So I would use the bricks. Right? And so here you're using your bricks. And this can be if you don't have an injury as well, because you want to honor the space that's in your body. So if you come in a triangle and you see how my right shoulder is turned down, but I really want to get into the pose because this is what the teacher said, bring the bring the left hand down and the right hand up. But you're crunched up, there's no space running. How can you breathe? Lift up, open up the chest, rotate the chest up towards the sky. If that's not available, unless you have bricks, use the bricks. Right? That is triangle pose. And it helped me take a little bit of pressure off the calf. Good. Let's try it to the other side. So I'm going to turn my right toes out and my left toes in. And this was the injured side, so I'm still taking care of this in some aspects. So even this, I feel a pull in my calf. So I'm going to stack another brick. Good. And you can use whatever level that you need to. Okay. Just whatever is safest and best for you. Good. Come on up. All right. Let's do goddess pose. I don't need the bricks right now. So if you, let me put these behind me so you can see my feet. So for goddess pose, the toes are going to turn out at an angle, and you're going to bend into the knees, keeping the pelvis neutral, and maybe get as far into a 90 degree as you can, and then also bring your arms into a 90 degrees, like goalposts. So elbows are aligned with the shoulders, and then shoulders are hugged back. All right, so this was, and then also for this pose, let's lighten that over just a little bit. Also for this pose, it's important that your pelvis isn't tilted forward. All right, I know I'm over dramatizing, but there we go. Right? So for me, this was painful. I have a lot of issues when I injured myself. So here's my goddess. Just like chair, slight bend, or maybe no bend. Always keep the knees soft though, so that you don't lock out and hyperextend the knees. There it is. There's goddess. And then you can go from goddess to that triangle pose. Grabbing your bricks if that's the sequence. And if you don't have bricks, you can be here. But the bricks actually add for you getting into the pose in the best position. All right, goddess pose. Now what about that funky fresh yoga squat, right? Yoga squat. What, are you crazy? My feet are down. So feet down, knees are open, belly in, pelvis neutral, sit straight down. Good. So anybody with knee injuries is looking at me like, what in the crap are you talking about? So I tried this the other day with these bricks, and these bricks are a little bit flimsy. So, well, not flimsy, they're very supportive, but flimsy is in comparison to like a cork brick, which is not gonna flop. So my yoga squat was like so. So I stacked the bricks, and I'm not gonna put weight down again because they fell right from underneath me when I was trying this the other day. But here's my yoga squat. Here is also your yoga squat if you need to come up higher. You can get as many bricks as you want at the yoga studio. If they have them, you get as many as you want. You can bring yourself up here if you want, okay? But there's that support that we're looking for. So goddess squat, and yoga squats. Cool? All right, let's see what we have next. I'm just gonna do a forward fold. On the top of your mat, do a forward fold. Just let yourself hang out for a minute. Let's check on that time. Very good, we're good. All right, so since we're here in this forward fold, let's do some standing splits. Let's grab our bricks. And there were issues, if you have knee issues or the calf issues or any kind of issues with balancing your feet, you're gonna wanna use some support. I have the wall here as well, but I'm gonna use my bricks and come into a standing split. I'm gonna use the injured leg and show you what it looks like because sometimes it still bothers me. So I'm taking, my hips are turned down and I'm balancing on my right foot. So there were mornings, so as soon as I lift my leg, I feel pressure, okay? So there were some mornings where I couldn't lift my leg up, okay? Or where I could, but it wasn't safe for me to. So standing splits, here's an option. Good. Actually, the heart folding is gonna be the standing splits. And that was warrior 3, I'll show you in a second. But here was my standing splits. Where is our alignment in standing splits? Hips are neutral, chest is turned down. So it doesn't matter how high you lift your leg. This is my standing splits one day. This may be my standing splits another day. You are still getting that arm strengthening that you are needing by using the blocks for support. Okay, good. And then here's standing splits with my other leg. Turn the hips down, lift that leg up. Okay. All right, so let's go from standing splits or warrior 3. Let's do warrior 3 though. Warrior 3. If you don't want to balance or reach your arms out, let me show you on my injured side. That was my warrior 3. So I just got my toe pointed out. Or option is also a grounded warrior 3. Cool, if that's available to you. All right. Now, let's take standing splits for warrior 3 and come through to majorette. So let's say teacher says, crunch your knee into your chest and then lift up to majorette. There's my majorette. Now, if this leg is up and it's tired, you can put your foot down. You can lift yourself up, reach your arms, and go ahead and lift that knee. So for me, again, it was hard to bend into both. So I had a block. Put your foot right on that block. Woo! What is this pose doing? It's causing flexion in the hip, causing flexion in the knee, but not so much. And then you're not using as much muscle power, but you're still getting that same effect. Good. So here is my majorette pose. Stay here for a few breaths and breathe. Good. Let's come back to standing splits, and then we'll do the other side. Okay. So standing splits. This is my injured leg, so this is how it looked. And I came through the middle first, and then I lifted up. And then, since it was hard to balance on the right leg, I would use it on both sides. Super important to balance out each side, but ease your way on the injured side, ease your way back in. When I broke my toe, my trainer actually had me work on that side to strengthen it back up. So you want to, especially on your non-dominant side. Your dominant side, you probably need to stretch out a little bit more because you use it a lot. Your non-dominant side, you maybe want to do more on so you can strengthen it. Good? Majorette, and then we're going to step back to standing splits or warrior three. Good. All right. So now I'm going to show you gentleman's pose. So gentleman's pose is here. I'll stand up for you. Ankle crosses the thigh, and then you sit low. And you make sure that that hip is up. Sit as low as you can. So I can still feel the pull. All right. So for this, I would come up. Here, I'm going to turn to the front for you. I would come up. They say gentleman's pose. And then here it is, right here. So my ankle is not across my thigh, but it's across my shin below the knee. And you can use whatever levels on your, excuse me, on your bricks as you want. And here's my gentleman's pose. You can maybe sit down a little bit. It just depended on the day. And maybe I would sit down a little bit and just see how it felt. Okay, let's try that on the other side. So either ankle cross the thigh or bring the toes to the brick. Gentleman's pose. Good? Good, good? All right. What about eagle pose? So I'm not even going to attempt to do eagle pose, but I'm going to show you a modification. Let's take the right thigh or right leg, right thigh, cross it over the left. And then you're going to prop your toes up. The right toes are propped up. So since the right thigh is over the left, then the right arm is going to go underneath and the left arm is going to go on top. So just be the opposite of the legs. Right leg on top, right arm on bottom. All right. So cross the arms, maybe touch hands, maybe touch palms. And then here's our eagle pose. Good. Modified eagle pose. Take your time. Okay. All right. I want to give enough time to rest and stretch too. Let's do the other side. So left leg on top, left arm underneath. Very good. Good, good, good. All right, uncross. I want to show one more thing because I did tell you to bring your strap. So I want to show hand to big toe. Make sure I have everything done. Yep, I got everything that I wanted to do. So I do want to show you this. So this is why a strap is good. Hand to big toe is, I'm going to show it on this side. So I'm using the wall too. Hand to big toe. My left knee bends. I'm taking my index finger, grabbing a hold of my big toe, and then you're going to extend the leg out. Okay, so there's 4 versions. There's letter A. There's letter B. There's letter C. And then the last one where you hold your leg up. Good. So instead of grabbing the big toe, I'm going to grab my strap. I'm going to balance on my left leg, bring the right knee up to the chest, and then hook. Try to keep your balance if you need the wall, it's there. Or a good thing to do also is practice balancing without the wall. Use it for support at first, and then that's the only way you practice is to fall, right? Correct. Woo. So let's put that underneath. Grab a hold of the strap in my right hand, come back up nice and tall, and then extend the leg out. So I have a soft bend. I'm not straightening it all the way out. I'm doing the best I can, creating the space in my hamstring and my calf so that eventually maybe it'll straighten all the way out and maybe it won't. Doesn't matter. You're still doing the pose. All right. Let's take an inhale and then fold in. Half lift inhale. Plant the palms, step back. Hands and knees. Sit on the heels, hero pose. Okay, so this is my hero pose because I had to extend the leg because of the injury. And then I could also put a block underneath. So there's my hero pose. Take a few moments. So whether your foot is back behind you or not. And again, this knee is on the ground. If you need some knee support or if you don't want to be in this pose at all, you can take the seated version, easy seat. So this is going to come, the leg is bent, same thing. So I can support my leg on whatever level, right? If situation where your knees are just like, nope, not at all, you can just come into a seated. Good. All right, let's come all the way down. Let's talk about forward folds. Sit up nice and tall. Folding. So the point of the forward fold is going to release some tension in your low back. It is going to free up the hamstrings, free up the calves a little bit. And just remember, know that all of this is connected, right? For the forward fold, you can also, use your strap. And what you'll do is walk your hands towards your feet. Keep walking your hands down that strap. Each time you practice, see, I'm walking my hands around the strap to the back of my feet, and then, whoa, all of a sudden I can grab my feet now. Or if that's not possible, you're just using it to keep the chest lifted, to keep the back straight. So this is what I got. This is where I am. Good? All right. Good. Let's do, still have a little time, let's do pigeon pose. So as we know, pigeon pose, or if we don't know, sorry. Pigeon pose, I'm going to bring my left foot forward, left leg, let's say left leg. I'm going to bring the whole leg forward, but I'm going to bring the knee in line with the left wrist, and I'm going to bring the ankle in line with the right wrist. And you want to keep your shin in line with the parallel to the front of the mat. And then we got this whole little right back here. You can feel the hip here. That's nice. But sometimes we can't be on the knee. That's an issue. Sometimes it's too much. Like we're super tight and it's like, nope, it's ineffective if I stay here. So let's come into a reclined pigeon pose on our back. Let's do that. So go ahead and lay flat. Get these little ponytails in the way. All right, go ahead and lay flat. We're going to take the left ankle and cross it over the right thigh. Good. So on our back, we're supported. We don't have to worry about the pose in the other way. So immediately, you're feeling what you would have felt in the other pose the other way. Okay. Let's take the left hand and gently guide the knee away from the body. That's going to help to open up the hip a little bit. Just breathe. So not even a guide, even if you just put your hand right on your thigh, your knee is going to feel that it's safe to open. Okay? We can add on to this. We can bring the right knee into the chest using the right hand. Good, and just guide the knee away. And then we can also, straighten through this right foot. So there's our pigeon modification. We go ahead and bend back into the knee. We can set it down. And now let's take a twist over to the right. So my left ankle is still crossed over my right thigh. And then I'm just going to twist over to the right. So that my left foot is down, arms are coming to a T, and then I'm looking over to my left side. If this is not working for you, if it's too much, here's where we have our lovely bricks. Here, that's too high for me. Yeah, that's better. You'll know if it's like too much and it doesn't feel supportive. You'll know. Okay. And even if we, let's come back to the middle, and even if we cross thigh over thigh and take a deeper twist here, look what's going to happen if you, actually let me stack these one on top of each other. If you can't get your knees all the way down. And you can still feel the twist this way. Let's go ahead and unwind. And the same thing goes with a just a regular spinal twist. So my knees are together and I'm twisting, knees are gonna come to the right. There's that support with the break. Good, all right, let's come to the center. I'm gonna turn, so I can still face the camera, I'm gonna turn this way. We gotta do our other side. So we had left over right, let's take right over left. Cross that ankle over the thigh. Take the right hand, kind of gently guide it away. No pushing, especially when if you have an injury. And just remember that some of these poses can help to start to help you heal, maybe after surgery, or if it hasn't got that deep yet, because most of the times if we have a knee issue, it starts in the hip, okay? Or if we have issues in the ankle, it starts with either the hips being too tight, the back being too tight. Remember, everything is connected together, so that's where it's gonna start. So if we start now with no injuries, or if we're maybe healing from injury, we can start this kind of practice, a yin practice. We've been doing yin this week. Is also very helpful to start to release some of that stuff that we're holding. Okay. All right. Let's bring that left knee into the chest. So here, I feel the more I bring my knee into my chest, I am feeling my calf muscles. So I'm going to stay right here and lift the leg. Just keep breathing. That was my doorbell. Sorry, I have a package waiting. All right. Okay, bring this foot down. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to take twist to the left. And again, if a brick is needed, go ahead and set your foot on the brick. Okay. And then let's cross thigh over thigh. And take your time. So I can feel this in my back. Good, and then we'll come back up and then take that regular spinal twist. Come on back to the center. So for our resting pose for Shavasana, sometimes if you extend the legs out long and maybe you're in a super long Shavasana position, this is going to start hurting the back, especially if you have tight hip flexors. You might feel this in your back, or if you have back issues, you might feel it in your back. This is where you can, if the studio has, or you grab beforehand, you're gonna need it. You can either, number one, if you didn't bring anything with you and you don't want to get up, keep your knees bent. All right. Another option is to bring the knees together. Take the feet wide. Okay, so let the knees knock together, and that's going to alleviate, I love that one. That's going to open up the tailbone, the sacrum a little bit, that space there. You can use your bolster Prop your knees on top. That's also going to offer some support for the low back. Or if they have a blanket and you grabbed one, this can go underneath your tailbone. And then you might have to play with the thickness of it too, because that was not enough for me. So for this, you might need it under your knees, or to make this better for me, I need this under my back. Yes, all right, that's better. So you just have to play with it. You just have to become aware of your body. That's what this is about. This is about this practice, this yoga practice, this life practice is about being aware in each and every moment and knowing what's going on with you and your body. It's about stepping into each moment and not comparing that moment to what happened yesterday. I see a lot of my students get upset at themselves, nonviolence. I see a lot of my students get upset at themselves because they did the pose right on Tuesday, I'm putting up the quotes. They did it right on Tuesday, and then they get so frustrated when they come back for our Thursday session and they can't balance. They're like, what happened? I just did it. And it's not about doing it the same way every day. Your approach is going to be different because every day your mindset is going to be different. Every moment your body is going to feel different. You might have an injury. You might have just slept wrong. You might need to take it easy. And if you sleep wrong, that's your body. Whenever you wake up, your body is telling you what happened. And you're like, okay, so I have to take care of that today. So we have to practice nonviolence. We have to adapt our body to the situation. We have to work on that internal joy. We have to cut deep into those layers. Between those layers, go down deep into where we are holding, where we are storing, why we are judging ourselves. That's a lot of work. I've been doing this for, I don't know, 20 something years, 20 plus, 30 plus years. So it's an ongoing process. Just remember that too, it does not stop. It doesn't stop. We are always in a continuous moment of healing, right? So nonviolence, right? Adapting, that is especially important in what's happening now. The violence starts here. I don't know if we knew that, but the things that we see in another person. I don't like the way that you did this. I don't like the way that you did that. Look at yourself. Do you like the way that you do that? And are you upset at this person because they're not doing it the way that you think it should be done because you can't do it? This is just an example, because oftentimes the things that we look at other people for that are wrong is what we need to look at ourselves for. So self-healing, self-love, nonviolence, it starts here. And in that way, we are able to express that out into the world. Okay? So I think if you're still resting, that's totally cool. If you are not, let's bring our palms together. If you're seated, bring the palms together, bow your chin, honoring ourselves, our practice, those that we practice with, and the places that we practice. We are all in this together. We are all in this together. And we're going to have to find some way to make it happen. And that's a big project. It doesn't happen in one day, but we're all in this together. Everybody is here for you to experience your growth. Every situation, everything you're doing, everything is an opportunity for you to experience your growth and to find that light inside of you. I thank you for joining me this afternoon. I wish you light, love, peace, and joy in your journey. Namaste.